Simon Williams finally lands his dream role, but he's forced to hide his explosive abilities that can break through walls, crush criminals, and eventually tear apart an entire studio. Things heat up when Trevor Slattery becomes his mentor, only to betray him and make a shocking comeback as the Mandarin. Simon's rise to stardom quickly spirals into a race against time. Friendships fracture, new jails for superpowered people are built, and secrets come crashing down. We open on a flashback. Young Simon Williams is in a shabby old theater with his dad, mesmerized by a campy superhero movie called Wonder Man. The film is cheap and corny, but Simon is totally captivated, not because he wants glory, but because the story lets him forget the world. That moment stays with him. Cut to the present. Simon's grown up and his life is about as far from heroic as it gets. He's a struggling actor, stuck in a throwaway role on a bleak horror show. Nobody cares about his character, but Simon gives it everything, agonizing over every detail and pushing for retakes long after everyone else has checked out. The director finally loses patience and fires him on the spot. No ceremony, just Simon walking off set alone. When Simon gets home, things only get worse. His girlfriend Vivian is packing her things, done with his endless obsession over acting and his inability to be present. She quietly walks out, and the silence that follows is crushing. Simon's left alone in the bathroom, overwhelmed by grief and anger. As his emotions boil over, strange things happen, shaking pipes, trembling mirrors, but it all passes before he can process it. Later, Simon wanders into an old, mostly empty movie theater showing Midnight Cowboy. There he runs into Trevor Slattery, another washed-up actor best known for faking it as the Mandarin. Instead of bitterness, Trevor offers a real conversation. They commiserate about the harshness of Hollywood and what it's like to be forgotten. Trevor mentions he's late for an audition for a Wonder Man remake, directed by the famous Von Kovac. That news hits Simon hard. The movie that first ignited his love for stories is being remade, and he's not even on the radar. The next day, Simon storms into his agent Janelle's office. She brushes him off. The audition list is full, no exceptions. When she steps out, Simon loses it. He rifles through her emails, finds the audition details, poses as her assistant, and sneaks himself onto the schedule. It's desperate and dishonest, but he's got nothing left to lose. At the audition, Simon's handed a doorman waiver, basically a form saying he's not a superhero. The irony stings. While waiting, anxiety tears him apart and he starts second-guessing everything. Trevor emerges from his own audition and finds Simon unraveling in the bathroom. They share a moment, two broken actors facing their reflections. Trevor's advice: stop overthinking, just say the words and mean them. Simon goes into the room, lets his guard down, and delivers his lines honestly. For once, he's truly present. That's all it takes. Afterward, Simon and Trevor grab a drink and talk about fate and unexpected roles in life. For a moment, Simon feels seen. They go their separate ways. But then the twist lands. Trevor gets a call. Simon Williams has been flagged as a superpowered threat. Their meeting wasn't by accident. Trevor was part of a setup. As Trevor processes this, Simon texts him a simple thank you, unaware that his world is about to be turned upside down. In a flashback, Trevor Slattery's luck has finally run out. No sooner does he touch down in the States after the wild events of Shanghai than federal agents close in. The Department of Damage Control remembers that Trevor never finished paying for his Mandarin fiasco. But instead of jail, Agent Cleary offers him a deal: his freedom in exchange for helping bring in Simon Williams, a suspected dangerous superpowered individual. Trevor refuses at first. He won't betray another actor without something in return. Cleary ups the ante, a real audition. Trevor can't say no. Meanwhile, Simon's recent win is already causing problems. His agent Janelle is furious to learn he auditioned for Wonder Man behind her back, but she's got news of her own. There's a last-minute self-tape request for a new project, The Carlisle. Deadline today. Simon gets one shot. Alone at home, Simon struggles with nerves, fumbling his lines and losing focus. While searching through his old files, he finds a video of Vivian, years ago, helping him prep for an audition. Her steady encouragement is exactly what he's missing. The memory hits hard. Suddenly, Simon loses control. A shockwave explodes out of him, wrecking his apartment and leaving a star-shaped dent in the concrete. He's left rattled and scared by his own power. Elsewhere, Agent Cleary hands Trevor a high-tech ring packed with surveillance gear. The mission: befriend Simon and plant the ring on his laptop. Just then, Simon texts Trevor for help with the self-tape. Cleary knows this is the perfect opening. Trevor meets Simon outside, where Simon blames bad energy for not wanting to film in his apartment. They start searching LA for a place to tape. Their first stop, a professional studio, is a bust. Trevor isn't allowed to help, and Simon freezes. Next, they try Trevor's place, but noise from a neighbor ruins the takes. Desperate, Trevor suggests turning to his old acquaintance, Joe Pantoliano. Joe is brash and unsparing, mocking Trevor's career and bringing up his past struggles. When Joe crosses the line, Simon steps up, defending Trevor and finally putting his foot down. The two leave, battered but united. Back in Simon's damaged apartment, it's now or never. Trevor gives Simon one last piece of advice. Read between the lines, trust the silence. It clicks for Simon and his performance finally lands. They send off the tape. While Simon steps out for food, Trevor completes his mission. He plants the ring on Simon's laptop. As he's about to leave, he notices the star-shaped dent in the wall. Realization dawns. Simon's powers are the real deal. Trevor doesn't say a word. He simply lifts a glass to Simon, playing the friend, all the while knowing the trap is set and ready to spring. Simon never talks about what happened when he was a kid, the night his house caught fire. Sirens, smoke, chaos. But when the doctors checked on young Simon Williams, they found nothing. Not a single burn, not a trace of soot. The official story, kitchen accident. Unofficially, something strange happened. Something protected Simon. He's never fit in. Now the Department of Damage Control is desperate. They built a top-tier prison for superpowered threats, but it's sitting empty. Congress is breathing down their necks, demanding results. Agent Cleary updates Trevor. They hacked Simon's laptop, looked into his past, found another odd incident. A bizarre porta-potty explosion on set, no explanation. Trevor's not convinced Simon's a threat, but Cleary's pushing. Trevor has to wear a wire, get some dirt. The plan, Trevor needs to tag along to Simon's mom's birthday in Pacoma. Just listen, see what turns up. Meanwhile, Simon's unraveling. He keeps harassing his agent, Janelle, desperate for news about the Wonder Man audition. She tells him to stop. Trevor stays by his side, running lines, trying to keep Simon steady. Simon's dreading the family reunion. He knows the judgment's coming. Trevor invites himself to the party, offering to help. Simon agrees, but only if he doesn't mention Simon getting fired. At the party, Simon's mom, Martha, is thrilled to meet Trevor. Finally, Simon brought a friend home. Simon's brother, Eric, recognizes Trevor as the fake Mandarin and starts teasing him. Trevor works the room, wire in place, hopping for something useful. Nothing comes up. The family's lively, Haitian traditions, blue barrels of supplies, warmth with an undercurrent of tension. Eric shows off his kitchen remodel and everyone jokes about Simon burning down the kitchen. The old joke still stings. At dinner, Eric goes in hard. He offers Simon a real job, mocks his acting, calls the big audition a pipe dream. Trevor tries to defend Simon, but Eric shuts him down. Trevor's not family. Trevor sneaks off, finds himself in Simon's childhood room, posters, old scripts, dreams that never quite made it. Cleary calls, demanding results, but Trevor's got nothing. Later, helping Martha with dishes, Trevor hears how Simon was lonely as a kid, and maybe even lonelier now. It hits Trevor in a way Cleary never could, then everything blows up. Simon gives his mom an ice cream maker, and she's thrilled. Eric ruins the moment, accusing Simon of buying it with her money. Then, Eric drops the bomb. He knows Simon got fired from American Horror Story. Eric explodes, says Simon's wasting his life, his talent, his future. Simon snaps. He smashes his fists into the kitchen island. Granite explodes. Silence, shock. Simon storms out. Trevor follows. They end up at a city overlook, lights spread out below. Simon finally drops the mask. His family knows about his powers. He's never told anyone else. He doesn't know how they started or how to control them. He explains the Dorman clause, how one registered superhero ruined acting for everyone, and how studios protect themselves, not the actors. No one outside his family has ever seen his powers, until now. Trevor steps away, rips out his wire, breaks the memory card and tosses it into the night. The evidence is gone. Back in the car, Simon's phone rings. It's Janelle. Simon listens, then grins. They both got callbacks. Simon and Trevor are still in the running for Wonder Man, and Trevor's made his choice. In a flashback, DeMar Davis has always kept a low profile, just the guy who holds the door at the Wilcox nightclub, unremarkable, invisible, steady. He works his shifts, smiles, and goes home. That's his routine. One night, as he's leaving, his boss gives him a pep talk about aiming higher, but for now just asks him to take out the trash. Out back, the usual dumpster is overflowing, so DeMar drags the garbage to a second bin marked with Roxanne's emblem. Something odd, dark, shimmering, almost alive, oozes from the lid. Against his better judgment, DeMar reaches inside. Reality splits. For a split second, DeMar finds himself in a strange, endless hallway lined with glowing doors. Then, just as suddenly, he wakes up at home, disoriented and changed. He quickly discovers what's different. Things can go right through him. Even his dog runs straight through his legs. Testing it out, Damar realizes he's become a living portal. His body is a doorway to somewhere else. At work the next night, a fire breaks out. The main exit is blocked, and panic spreads. Instinctively, Damar phases through the jammed door and calls for people to follow. One by one, clubgoers step through him and escape unharmed. Among the survivors is actor Josh Gad, who's amazed by Damar's powers. Suddenly, Damar's life changes. He becomes Josh's bodyguard, then a novelty act, and soon a Hollywood star. He lands a role in the heist comedy Cash Grab with his powers as the main joke. Audiences love it, and Damar's catchphrase, "Ding, dong," makes him famous as the doorman. But fame burns out fast. The hype fades, job offers dry up, and Damar finds himself relegated to B-movies and late-night gigs. His superpower becomes a running gag, his name a punchline. Just as he's about to give up, Josh Gad returns to pitch a sequel, Cash Grab 2. It seems like a second chance. But during filming, as Josh steps into Damar's portal, he simply vanishes. No trace, no answers. Authorities descend. Damar is arrested, put under constant watch and interrogated, but he's as clueless as everyone else. Hollywood reacts instantly. The industry bans all superpowered individuals from film sets, forcing actors to sign waivers swearing they have no powers. The new rule, the Doorman Clause, shuts the door on superpowered careers overnight. Elsewhere, actor Simon Williams reads the headlines about Damar and the new industry rule. He doesn't say anything, but his reaction says it all: fear and realization. Simon Williams and Trevor Slattery are riding high after landing a callback, celebrating at El Capitan with drinks. Trevor's soaking up the good vibes, but Simon can't relax. He's anxious, worrying that their luck could vanish at any moment. His nerves get the better of him, and his powers spark under the table. The celebration is cut short when Patrick arrives with armed backup. Trevor immediately recognizes him as someone he owes money to. The situation escalates quickly, and they're forced out into an alley at gunpoint. Instinct takes over. Simon unleashes a surge of onic energy, taking out Patrick and his crew. No one's hurt, but the aftermath leaves Simon rattled. He's convinced this slip-up will cost him everything, thanks to the Doorman Clause. Trevor tries to reassure him, insisting no one saw anything, until a teenager named Jaden zips by on a scooter, helmet cam blinking, having caught the whole thing on video. A frantic chase through the city follows, with Trevor driving and Simon panicking. They lose Jaden, but the damage is done, the secret's out. While they're searching for the kid, Simon gets a callback script from Janelle. Reading it, he's unsettled. In the scene, Wonder Man's best friend betrays him. The timing and the theme hit too close to home. They track Jaden down at a nightclub, where he coolly proposes a deal. Help him recover a stolen motorbike from Esteban, and he'll erase the incriminating footage. Trevor's suspicious, but Simon agrees, feeling cornered. At Esteban's, Simon and Trevor pretend to be cops, but the ruse falls apart when Esteban's crew recognizes Trevor as the Mandarin. Esteban claims he runs a legitimate business and paints Jaden as a disgruntled ex-partner. Before things can get sorted, Patrick reappears, gun in hand, dragging Jaden with him and forcing Trevor along. In the chaos, Trevor convinces Jaden to hand over the helmet cam, and he deletes the video before anyone has a chance to upload it. Suddenly, police sirens wail. Someone's called the cops. As gunfire erupts and the scene explodes into chaos, Janelle calls to say Von Kovac is leaving and the callback is happening right now. Simon and Trevor barely escape, peeling away as the street behind them erupts. With everything falling apart and their futures at stake, Simon and Trevor race to Von Kovac's place. In a flashback, Trevor Slattery's life fell apart in a heartbeat. One infamous audition, one perfect line into the camera, "Some people call me a terrorist," and his world flips. He nails the role, lands the Mandarin job, and just as quickly it destroys him. Fame turns to infamy, and soon he's behind bars, wishing he never said those words so well. Fast forward, now Trevor's driving Simon Williams through deserted streets. Simon's rattled, no sleep since last night, haunted by lines and doubts. Trevor pulls over, grounds him, reminds him why they're doing this. Inside the audition, it's brutal. The competition looks polished and confident. Trevor and Simon feel like imposters. Von Kovac, the director, is ice cold. "Toss the script. Show me something real." Trevor goes first, paired with another actor in a breakup. This time he lets genuine regret show. His voice wavers. Von Kovac actually pays attention. Simon's turn comes. He freezes. Desperate, he copies a scene from Pretty Woman. Von Kovac stops him, unimpressed. Simon feels like he's falling apart. He blacks out. In his nightmare, another improv goes wrong. Simon loses control, his powers lash out, and he injures another actor. There's chaos, blood, terror. He wakes up shaken. Simon finds Trevor and finally confesses. He's terrified of being real. If he lets his guard down, his powers could hurt someone. Trevor listens, then tells him the truth. The powers aren't what matters. It's the human side that counts. Simon returns for one last scene, this time with Trevor. No script, no masks. It's a raw, honest confrontation between friends. Simon finally opens up and the scene lands, intense, genuine, and powerful. When it ends, the room is silent. Von Kovac makes the call. Simon Williams is Wonder Man. Trevor Slattery is Barnaby. They leave, relieved and laughing, until Trevor steps out and Agent Cleary arrives. Prison is waiting. Trevor panics, tries to talk his way out, claiming Simon is a dangerous superhuman just to buy time. Now Trevor's career is back, but his freedom is slipping away, and betrayal is closing in again. Simon Williams always remembered the time his dad took him out of school early, not because he was sick, but because he needed comfort. Instead of going home, they ended up in an old theater watching a Wonder Man movie, the kind with over-the-top heroics and heart. Simon's dad knew about the fight at school, knew that being different hurt, and told Simon that sometimes being different meant he was meant for something bigger. That moment stuck with Simon for years. Now as an adult, Simon has become Wonder Man for real. He's got the Hollywood treatment, a chauffeur, a whole team run by Janelle, and for the first time, success feels within reach. But he knows it could all fall apart at any moment. Things get tense when Janelle tells him that Cassie Friedman from the New York Times wants to do a deep dive profile. Simon's anxious, but Trevor thinks this kind of attention is proof he's made it. The interview goes downhill quickly. Simon tries to control the conversation, repeating Cassie's name too often. Cassie isn't buying it. Trevor tries to help, but Cassie wants references and brings up Vivian. Simon is thrown. That night, Simon meets up with Vivian. She tells him she's always known something was different, and she'd hoped he'd trust her enough to share it himself. Her quiet honesty hurts more than anger would have. Before the big interview, Simon's mom calls with bad news. Cassie found Eric. Eric has always known how to hurt Simon, but during the interview, Eric does the unexpected and praises Simon. Simon finally feels like he can breathe. But then Cassie shifts focus to Trevor, confronting him with footage of his arrest and pressing him about how he's free now. Trevor's facade slips and he storms out. Backstage, Simon confronts Trevor, who admits he's been secretly working with DODC, giving them information and buying himself time. He claims he's still looking for a way out. Simon just listens, tells Trevor he put on a good show, and walks away. That's when everything breaks inside Simon. He barely makes it out of the studio before his powers explode, shaking the building, blowing out lights, sending equipment crashing. His scream unleashes energy that rips through everything. Miles away, Kathy watches as chaos rises into the sky. Simon's secret is out. Wonder Man's future is suddenly uncertain. The morning after the explosion, with Simon Williams stuck at home, glued to the news as the same chaotic footage replays. He's tense, expecting a knock at the door and the Department of Damage Control to haul him away at any moment. Then Trevor calls, no jokes, just a quiet apology and a promise to fix things. Suddenly, breaking news hits. Trevor, back in his over-the-top Mandarin persona, takes credit for the bombing on live TV, spinning it as a planned act of terror. The public buys it. The DODC quickly arrests Trevor, though Agent Cleary knows he's just covering for Simon. To the world, the case is closed. Trevor disappears into a high-security cell, and Simon is in the clear. Back on set, Von Kovac tells Simon to channel everything he's been through into his performance. Simon dons the iconic sunglasses and suit from the original Wonder Man film, and something finally clicks. The premiere is a hit, and Simon celebrates with his family and Janelle. Talk of a sequel is already in the air. But news of Trevor's indefinite detention haunts Simon. Trevor's locked away, isolated and forgotten. Time passes. Simon turns up in the quiet desert town of Yucca Valley, befriending a local security guard, Chuck Eastman. He spends time with Chuck's family, and one night Chuck's bank account is mysteriously full, enough money for a fresh start. All Simon asks in return, help inside the prison where Chuck works. Inside the DODC facility, Agent Cleary reports that the investigation is closed. Simon Williams is far from ordinary. He manipulates ionic energy and could be a powerful ally or a dangerous threat. Simon sneaks in, finds Trevor in his cell and rips the door off its hinges. Trevor protests, but Simon is done hiding. Surrounded by crackling energy, Simon lifts into the air, controlled and confident. He grabs Trevor, and together they blast through the roof in a pillar of light, escaping as sirens blare and Cleary looks on, helpless. The season ends with Wonder Man finally stepping into the light, powerful, unafraid, and ready to embrace who he truly is.